NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, that Obama has called for and signed, stipulates that even American citizens can now be targeted by the military, picked up, and imprisoned.
Last night I dreamt about how things were.
Of every enemy of the state!
And then I woke up here.
FEMA orders 16,000 guillotine blades from Mexico, and I will read. While President Trump inspected prototype border walls near San Diego, FEMA agents traveled to Juarez, where they discreetly ordered thousands of guillotine blades from a Mexican metal manufacturer 2 miles south of the border, says an active FEMA agent speaking under condition of anonymity. The purchase order, he said, omitted the word guillotine, but specifically requested 16,000 shearing blades, each one 30 inches by a quarter inch by 15 inches, with a razor-sharp edge ground at a 17-degree angle, constructed of solid plate monosteel. The exact composition and dimensions of guillotine blades currently stored at FEMA camps nationwide. Our source said the shop owner, Jose Lopez of, I'm redacting the name of the company for now, I'll explain why afterwards, accepted the deal only after the lead FEMA agent paid up front and promised not to retaliate if the blades dulled from overuse. The request stipulated the blades be manufactured ASAP. Unmarked 18-wheelers would pick up finished product at regular intervals until the entire order was fulfilled. FEMA sought foreign assistance, our source said, because using American manufacturers would generate an identifiable paper trail linking the agency to the purchase. Mexican business ethics are less stringent and do not require extensive paperwork. A money exchange and a handshake seals the deal. I quote our source. The agency is very careful in procuring equipment to be used against civilians. They want to avoid both public and congressional scrutiny. The guillotines were purchased in China, the blades in Mexico, and other locations. We spread things out. Makes it harder to trace exactly what is being purchased, just in case. Asked how FEMA crosses the border, he said the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Agency receives instructions to overlook FEMA vehicles that exit or enter the United States. Problems happen, he added, when FEMA convoys encounter Mexican federal police or drug cartels. Issues are usually resolved with a bribe or bullets. The current order of guillotine blades, he said, is slated for potential hotspots, primarily zones 6, 7, and 8, areas FEMA expects the most resistance when martial law is declared. Once affixed to the guillotine chassis, the razor-sharp blades will decapitate unruly, law-abiding citizens who have been herded like cattle into FEMA internment camps. Guillotines are more effective than bullets at enforcing cooperation. I quote him again. FEMA has conducted beta tests on this matter. A crowd of people is more frightened than seeing a person's head cut off than seeing him placed before a firing squad. How do they know this? Well, all I'll say is during Hurricane Harvey...
This entire hurricane. Well, I chose not to go inside yesterday because the Salvation Army and Russian Winds homeless shelter where they were accepting people were caught killing everybody that was in there.
Many people, mostly homeless, disappeared. Where do you think they went? He asked. Asked if President Trump sanctioned guillotine purchases or the aforementioned actions, he said Trump is probably oblivious to what is really happening to the nation. FEMA is autonomous and answers to neither the president nor any executive body. It is immune to congressional review or oversight committees. When probed for information on the martial law timetable, our source said he had no idea when FEMA would manipulate the president to sign the order, but added that FEMA has been preparing since the early 1990s and is ready to swoop into action at a moment's notice.
David claims that Hollywood has never dealt with topics like RFID, internment camps in America, and detention. Instead, they have produced propaganda in place of real issues. When Hollywood does discuss internment and detention, it's almost always about World War II and the Holocaust. Literally thousands of films have been produced about the Holocaust, and yet one single film that addresses the potential for a Holocaust in the United States is stopped mid-production after its director is murdered. Seems a bit odd, doesn't it? They don't want Americans, Canadians, and other Western countries to know what is coming. And that is a plan to intentionally collapse Western society. If you don't believe me, read the plan that's been in the books for over a century. Planned out by the Illuminati and penned by Albert Pike back in the 1800s in his 3 World War predictions. Gray State was simply too threatening. It revealed too much, not just the obvious points of what could happen with the collapse of a society, things like martial law, food shortages, and a provisional government. It goes beyond this. David knew a secret, and he left it inside of the trailer for Gray State, in plain sight. David Crowley used the Illuminati's favorite game against the notorious Cabal. It's a game they've played with the human race for years. They provide clues about the future to toy with us. They did it with 9/11. They've done it with other major catastrophes. It's called predictive programming. On occasion, though, they get outsmarted at their own game. What was David's hidden message inside the Gray State? And could it be the reason for his death? Perhaps the scariest part of Gray State's conceptual trailer is this character here, who appears to be operating a guillotine. David Crowley was very intentional in this frame of the movie. He added something that I believe he wanted the people to know about. Who is the identity of this executioner? If you look closely, you will see that this terrifying character is wearing something around his waist. It appears to look like an apron. The executioner wears a Freemason apron, complete with the all-seeing eye, the compass, and the 2 pillars. I do believe David Crowley is trying to tell us something. He is telling us that the organization behind the French and American revolutions, the organization behind the Italian Revolution of 1830, the organization that outlined a plan to overtake the Vatican in a document called the Alta Vendita, the organization behind the Trail of Tears and the deaths of thousands of Native Americans under Freemason Grand Master Andrew Jackson, the organization behind the Ku Klux Klan in the United States post-Civil War and its rebirth in 1915, the organization behind the detonations at Hiroshima and Nagasaki during 33rd degree Freemason Harry Truman's presidency. These are men with a radical revolutionary agenda throughout the entire world because they worship and follow a radical revolutionary deity. The first to have led a revolt against the Most High Lord. David Crowley knew something, and he was trying to warn the people. The ones behind the FEMA death camps, the guillotines, and the detention of Americans, it's the Freemasons. They're planning
a second.
I've had people calling me saying they go out to their mailbox and they find a little red dot or a little blue dot on their mailbox, and they wonder what the little red dot and blue dot is. Well, it's marking your mailbox by the government, so when foreign troops come in here on us after martial law, if you have a red dot on your mailbox, they take you out immediately and shoot you right in the head. But if you have a blue dot, they take you to the FEMA camps being built by Halliburton right now to house 50 million Americans. They're building enough concentration camps in America by Halliburton that Cheney's getting rich off of, Vice President Cheney's getting rich off of, to put those with the blue dot on your mailbox in those concentration camps. Now, if you go out and you find a pink dot on your mailbox, that means that they believe you'll be a good slave and you're going to go along with the program and serve our international Antichrist masters. So watch for that dot. They haven't got up to our area yet because they're afraid we might catch them putting the dots on the mailbox and they wouldn't get back to their home at night, if we catch them.
Well, I guess the great state was correct when they came to saying that they picked the sides for us. If you're Republican, you represent the red dot, and if you're Democrat, you represent the blue dot. The Democrats are obviously for globalism, open borders, and do what thy wilt, pretty much. The globalists plan to take over the world and get the new world order going, and the one world currency, one world religion, and all that good stuff they got coming our way. And obviously the Republicans of the red dot systems represent the red states. I think that's how they're going to be tagging us. If you love the way America was and how it is today, how we stand for freedom, how we stand for the Constitution, how we stand by our firearms, how we stand by God, I think they want to take all that away from us, and they're putting us in the system. So if we're voting Republican for Trump, then obviously that's how they're going to get us. If you vote Democrat, then obviously you're not going to get dealt with too much. But from the red dot system, they pretty much just want to take us out and blow our brains out. And for the Democratic system, they just want to take them to the camps and get them re-educated. Those who they can't re-educate, they're going to give them to the guillotines. The guillotines or the firing squad, however they're going to do it in that spectrum. But as you can see, I showed you the video before this, they have camps all over the country. They have mall camps, they have Walmart camps, they have FEMA camps, they're going to be using stadiums for camps. So they have a multitude of ways of getting people in detention centers. I don't know if you guys realize this, but if you drive around Florida, you can see concentration camps everywhere, guard towers everywhere. They put them up in stores to condition your mind to seeing them looking like that. That way when they actually put a camp up in front of you, you won't even recognize it. But that's what they are, concentration camps. And they're waiting for the American citizens whenever the Khazars give the the order to pull the plug. They're going to pull the cord on the nation, and they're going to know exactly who to come for strategically first, just for the voting booth. So they got you in that aspect right there. They already know who the dissidents are going to be. They already know who they're going to round up first. You're going to see there's a lot of people out there getting gang stalked. Those people might be getting hit first too as well. People who get tormented with their character assassinated throughout the community, at their jobs, just so you can discredit these people. People like myself. That way when people come in, like whoever they swing in to come get you, they're gonna say this guy was this and that on the news that they own, and then they're gonna pretty much shut those guys down, and then the community won't bat an eye because their name's been tormented and character assassinated throughout the years. So just give out prayers to the people of the American Constitution, people who stand for America, people who stand by God. Don't ever lose your faith, because this life, like I said, is a mere bated breath. At the end of the day, this life is short. The next life is more real than this life can ever be, and it's forever. So it's up to you at the end of the day if you want your life to be a curse in your death, or you want it to be a blessing. I choose my life to be a blessing because I know what this is. This life is a lie, and I'm here just to open your eyes up to the truth, because guys call guys like me the watchman, and I'm watching out for you even if you're not watching out for me. You may be my enemy, but in this day and time I will love you, and I will always love you, and I will always forgive you. But if you force my hands into battle, I will fight, and I plan on dying, because that's just the way it is, and that's the way it's gonna be if that's the way you guys want to have it. But like I said, they're gonna get us through the red dot, blue dot system. Obviously that means you're Republican. They're gonna come for you. How they're gonna come for you with the red dot system and the blue dot system. And I don't know if you guys seen this through the D-Eagle website. It kind of pretty much says all the European nations are all populations decreased dramatically. I mean dramatically. And don't be mistaken about us going into the Muslim Brotherhood, Islam and all that stuff, and destroying the Middle East. Then 18 years later, all those children from those broken homes, they sent into the white nations, and now they're all grown men. They're planning on destroying the white race, and they plan on destroying the Muslim race, and they're gonna make a lot of money off watching their enemies fight each other. So you Muslim brothers out there who believe that you're coming into this nation to take over, I can assure you that is not the truth. The truth is that they're gonna exterminate you, and they're gonna exterminate the white race, which is why they're sending you guys into these nations the way they're doing it. They destabilized your homeland, and now they're gonna destabilize our homeland, and they're gonna make a lot of shekels in doing so. So you guys just keep your eyes open and stay focused on what's going on in the world. I got your backs as long as I can have it. As you may know, everything is starting to look a lot crazy out there in the world, so it's best that you stay focused. Prepare yourself with God, because He loves you. He will always love you. Just talk to Him on the daily. That's all He really cares about. And if you try to break free from sin and you can't, I understand that. We're surrounded by sin through the music, through the television. On the daily, they have to continuously beat us with this sinful life to keep us from getting to the kingdom. They know it's real. They tell you to your face that they worship Satan, and you still can't believe in God. And I'm not knocking you, because I was the same way. I was one of those spiritual New Age movement guys, but I found my way. I'm getting this message out to you guys because I love you, and I'd just like to thank you guys for watching.